Hey guys, just pulled in the driveway. I haven't even made it in the house yet. I figured I'd make this video now before I got inside and relaxed. Um, when I was new, when I made videos, I would make sure that I would do as much research as I possibly could. If I wanted to know what something was, I would research it. I wouldn't just go listen to people. I wouldn't just watch YouTube videos and stuff. I would actually go to Wikipedia. I would look up the definitions of things. I would write them down. Sometimes it would take days, if not a week, for me to remember how to pronounce the words right, for me to remember what they meant, something to get it ingrained in my head so I could talk about it clearly. And even still to this day, I slip up sometimes, but I think I recover fairly well if I don't say something correctly, or maybe I just forget a little bit on how to explain something a certain way. Recently, I've seen a lot of new YouTube videos pop up. Like, literally, the other day, there was a guy I was watching. He had like 7 subscribers, and he was talking about keto. And he had lost like 50 pounds. But then by the end of his video, he's talking about how he incorporates bananas and stuff in his diet at the end of the night during certain timing and stuff. And I was like, wait a second. This is not keto at all. And he didn't explain the methodology behind it. He didn't explain why he come up with this concept. And then I started seeing some of the recommendations that he had with different carbs and stuff he was putting in his life. And I said, wait, this is not keto. And this is something that somebody's taking and making it their own. And they're destroying basically the whole idea of the conventional style keto that we practice, or the revised conventional style keto, and that really upset me. I even replied to the guy and I left some comments and stuff, basically to straighten things out for other people that may see his video. But I got to thinking maybe that's why he only has 7 subscribers. Then I'm floating around, and there's a girl. She's got 230 subscribers. And she's talking about how reducing the amount of carbohydrates spreads out your insulin more. And I'm thinking to myself, what are you talking about? Reducing the amount of carbohydrates requires you to produce less insulin because you're not having to shuttle carbohydrates and sugar to get processed. It doesn't spread out your insulin more. You just don't have to produce as much of it. And then I thought maybe I'll give her a break because she's trying to explain things, and maybe she's new to this and she's really trying to get in the hang of it. But then I got to thinking, wait, new people are going to watch this. This girl clearly doesn't even understand how insulin is created and what the purpose of the pancreas is. It's to produce insulin and to release glucagon during fasted states when the body requires glucose. It shuttles glucose to the liver so the liver can disperse it accordingly. And then I think, well, I won't say anything at first. Then I continue watching the video. And then I start hearing her talking about, literally over and over again, talking about, just drink tons of water. Just drink tons of water. See, I got this cup like this. And I keep filling this cup up and drink tons of water. And she didn't mention electrolytes. But wait a second. I'm thinking to myself again, no. This is like the same thing that I just got done talking about. Promotion of hypokalemia and hyponatremia. If you're gorging yourself full of water, just like we did back in the military, where during the day a drill sergeant used to scream, drink water, and then we would literally grab our water canteens and have to force hydrate ourselves and say, beat the heat, drill sergeant, beat the heat, like we were all like Nazis following Hitler or something like that. Like we had to like literally follow verbatim what he said. And it was forced hydration is what they called it. And then I'm having these flashbacks while I'm listening to this girl talk about, oh, just keep pounding the water. Keep pounding the water. No. Drink to your satiation. Drink to the color of your urine. Light straw-colored urine. And then I think to myself, wait a second. I have to say something. So I replied. And then I started listening more. And then there were so many other things that were just way off. And I said, wait a second. I didn't do this stuff when I was new. I just talked about my journey. I talked about the things. I talked about food. I talked about how stuff affected me. I talked about my life. And then I slowly progressed into feeling more and more comfortable about talking about things and actually looking up research and medical studies. Never giving medical advice, but just pointing people in the right direction on how to find it. And then I made a few videos that were a little controversial months ago, and as I've stated, some pretty good friends ended up not liking what I had to say. I mean, I'm a factual person, guys. I'm not going to put anything on my YouTube that's not real. I will never even really put something that's a full-blown opinion. It's going to come from a medical study. It's going to come from something a doctor said, and it's never going to be something that I created, because I don't have the right to do that. I don't have the right to create a recommendation. I don't have the right to create. I don't have the knowledge base and stuff behind me to say, this is why your body does this. Everything that I state is something that I've researched. It's something that came through in a medical study. It's something that I looked up and I've honestly tried and I've believed in. It's something that came from my keto group that I practice with people, and I know and I see that it works, and it's based off medical research. Never is anything that I say, never, anything that I say an opinion based solely from my head. It doesn't work that way. It's years of practicing, years of coaching people, years of helping people in order to get to a place and know, hey, I'm looking at sugar-free Jello right now. I know that's got maltodextrin in it. I know that destroys your probiotic in your gut. I know that's like the worst possible sugar you can possibly. It's even higher than regular table sugar. I know that sugar-free Jello I should not eat. I know I should not be recommending other people to use that sugar-free Jello. I know soybean oil it's really high in omega-6. Other hydrogenated oils are really high in omega-6, and excessive amounts of omega-6 is pro-inflammatory. I should not be recommending that to people. Omega-3s, almost in an abundance, are perfect for the body because they're neutral and they can be used in every which way your body needs an omega to transform something, to supplement something, to shuttle somewhere, to do something, to create an action for something to happen. Omega-3 can be used across the board. And I know that if omega-3 and omega-6 are in balance, my body can create its own omega-9 because you won't find that in food. So when I know these things, and I can talk to people about these things, I know how to make those recommendations. I know how to say, well, you know, you're showing signs of sodium deficiency. Look into that. Not telling them to go do this. Look into low sodium. Look into possibly bringing this conversation up with your doctor. And it comes from years and years and years and years of doing it. But I'm starting to see so many new people popping up that they're just not putting the time in. They're not talking about their journey and promoting their journey and how people can walk the same way that they walk based on the path that they're showing them. Instead, they're actually getting out here and talking about medical research and they don't even know what they're talking about. They're giving recommendations and stuff, and they're calling it keto, and it's not even keto. And it upsets me more than anything, because then that makes the rest of us look bad that actually do keto the way keto should be done. Now, we all have our slip-ups from time to time. We all do things that aren't necessarily 100% keto, but it's our journey. But we're not going out here and having bananas and watermelons and peaches and pears and all this other stuff and talking about carb cycling, you know, every week. When you have to fight to get back into ketosis, by the time the end of the week rolls around, you're not even in ketosis again before you carb cycle, so you just continue to screw yourself up. I've watched a couple videos over the last month about carb cycling and how people give terrible recommendations on how to carb cycle. They don't even really know how to do it, but they want to give people recommendations on how to do it. Do you know that it takes a week to 2 weeks to get into ketosis? And then if you're carb cycling every other weekend or every week, you're barely even in a deep form of ketosis. You're never going to become fully fat adapted, especially if you're a new person. And I see people out here talking about carb cycling. If you carb cycle, I would say this is something that should be done every 6 to 8 weeks, or maybe even further out, only when you have to. Just like Thomas DeLauer said, he will have carbs in excessive amounts when his joints start to ache, when he starts to get cramping arms and hands and joints and muscles, and his body starts to hurt. He knows at that point it's time to really smack on some carbs and then go right back to ketosis, low carb. There is a time for it for certain people, but to give that recommendation to other people out there and do a very poor job of it, it really upsets me. It really does. And then I watch some videos where people know better. They know better. I watch them give good recommendations and stuff on social media and stuff like that, but then when they make their videos, it's like the complete opposite of what I see on the recommendations. And I don't know. I think that's essentially why there are certain people that just don't even comment on my videos and stuff anymore. They don't even private message me and stuff anymore because they know I don't follow that crap. I'm going to be 100% honest and very forward, and it takes a certain type of person to get along and be able to communicate back and forth with me because of how open and honest I am. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. That's just how it's going to be. I'm trying to say less, and I'm trying to shut my mouth a little bit more, but it's very difficult for me to do that when I see so many new people trying to come onto the scene and make recommendations, and they just are not doing a good job. They're not doing their homework. They're recommending very bad products to people. They're putting a lot of stuff out there that is not necessary as a new person. If you're a new person and you want real good advice, find yourself a strict channel. Find yourself a channel where somebody's got some time in. They've done it for a little while. If you're following somebody that's literally brand new within the last couple weeks, they don't have some months under their belt, they don't have some time under their belt, and they're trying to give advice and stuff already, probably not the right channel for you to follow. I mean, you could follow, but if somebody that's been doing something for 2 or 3 months is already telling you this is how much you should have, that's how much you should have, they haven't even figured this out yet. They don't even know the gist of it. Maria Emmerich says it takes at least 1 year for you to really become in tune with your body completely before you know how keto fully affects you and what things do and don't for you. And I can attest to that. It took me almost 14 months to actually figure out if my body feels this way, this is how I have to shift my keto. If my body feels this way, this is how I got to do my keto. If I'm not losing as much, I need to start looking to more carnivore, no carb. And if I'm starting to feel sluggish, definitely no carb. If I'm lacking energy, my joints and stuff are starting to hurt, I just don't have that drive and stuff anymore, start shifting back over to keto, start getting up my 20 to 30 grams of carbs, maybe even 50 sometimes because I'm a larger guy. You know, I still got fluff on me, but I'm a very muscular guy. I was a power lifter before I got hurt and gained all this weight. And I still have a lot of that muscle left. So I can have more carbs than the average person will, and I stay in ketosis. I've already tested this before. I've had up to 70 grams of carbs in one day, still test my ketones the next day, and still be almost at the same level. I choose not to do that because I want to keep losing. And I want to keep losing fast. So I stick to 20 or less for the most part, but I can safely, no problem at all, have up to 50 grams of carbs a day, and I start bringing my joints back. I stop hurting as much in my joints, but I get them from green sources. I get them from berries and green veggies. But it's just knowing that and having that time under my belt and being able to help other people get to where they need to be is the key. I'm seeing just too many new channels pop up they don't even have the time in. And instead of just letting people follow them through their journey and just networking and communicating until they get more time in, that seat to say, hey, I can help you figure that out. They're just out there dry firing. Who knows what'll happen? I've commented on so many videos lately that people have just not done their research. People have just making poor choices, giving bad recommendations, and then that looks. I see that as I might have to argue with that person down the road, trying to literally help them, and I'm trying to do everything that I can to put my emotion, my energy, and my time and stuff into that person to help them fix what they're dealing with, because somebody else has screwed it up, and they honestly believe that person, and now I'm having to come behind and fight for that person and really have them hold on and say, don't quit keto, let me help you, let me fix this. I know the information went wrong, I know you've been doing this for so long, let me help you. I don't want to give up on you. And it's usually because they've got bad information from somewhere and they followed it for so long, they're just so tired and fed up. It's not working for them, or they're not doing something right. I don't know. I really apologize for ranting in this video, but it's something that has been coming. It really has. It's something that I've been wanting to talk about, and I've noticed a lot of the networking and stuff doesn't happen as much. A lot of people are sticking in their little cliques and stuff now, and they're just not communicating back and forth as much. And I don't know. I feel like a lot of the people that originally networked and communicated with all of us, they're all switching now. They're all starting to go one way. Another group's going another way. I'm trying to keep things lively, trying to keep coming up with ideas, keep trying to make all of our groups bigger. For God's sake, I even created a Facebook group that was for just YouTubers, and I was going to pay to advertise all of our YouTubes. Pay. That means me paying for the 5 largest states for all of us to get our ads sent out, our YouTube sent out, so we can spread the message, because I really believe in you guys. And I think I talked about this maybe 2 months ago, or not like a month and a half ago. It might have even been a month ago. And you know, I got like 20 people on that Facebook. I would have thought that somebody that wanted to help you network that much and really get your content out there and pay for the Facebook group to be sponsored and your posting of your YouTube videos out there, that people would have been all over that. Nobody really responded. That's what I'm talking about. It's like people, I don't know anymore. I don't get it. I really don't get it. You got to be super popular, or you got to be in the clique, or you got to be in the now, or something like that, just for people to latch on to what you're saying, and it may not even be correct. And just because they're your buddy or your pal or your Facebook chatting friend, they won't call you out on your stuff sometimes to say, hey, you know, that's what you put out in your video wasn't necessarily very kosher. You know, you could fix that, or you can brush that up a little bit, because that wasn't a very good recommendation for a new person. But I mean, a lot of us have some good experience here. We should be doing that kind of stuff just to coach and help the other person. But I'm not going to change my content, and I know some of you are going to be upset for this video, which that's okay with me. I just feel like we could network a little bit better, and especially if somebody's offering you to help sponsor your video. And I guess it's a conflict of interest when you have your own Facebook group, like some of you guys just... I literally just found out some of you guys have your own Facebook groups. I had no idea. That's how much some of us don't talk. I had no idea that some of you guys had your own Facebook groups, and I mean, wouldn't that be awesome to have somebody help you build that Facebook group? Especially like me. I've got, 3 or 4 little small groups that have anywhere between 400 to 1,000 people. I admin another carnivore group. Those people could be I got my own group that has 3,700 people in one of them. And then I have another group that I just started that I was going to do like for YouTubers and stuff like that, so we can all really get out there and coach people up. And not just a group where one person owns that group, or we all own that group. Nobody has more say so, but I guess that shit to bed. Nobody said anything about that really. A couple people popped up, but that was it. Anyhow, wow, that went on for 18 minutes now about ranting. I'm glad I got that off my chest. Well, I'm going to send it, guys. I'm sure I'm not going to get very good comments on some of this stuff. But anyhow, that's how I feel. And I think as people that want to talk about keto, we should be giving good recommendations. We should be giving the best that we can if we're going to do it. We should know what we're talking about when we do it, and we should not half-ass it. We should just give people the researched. I work all damn day sometimes, and I'll come sit down at this table for 3 or 4 hours, and I write stuff down, and I write it down, and I write it down, and I write it down. I might practice it for a couple days before I even talk about it, just because I think that's important for me to, if I want to put that kind of time in it, I want to give some kind of recommendation and teach people about something, I want to make sure that I know it. I don't want to whim it. I don't want to just wing that and put it out there and say, oh, that's it, and then somebody comes along and says, wait a second, you just missed entire parts of that whole thing. If we're going to do that, guys, we should be really doing it to the best of our ability. That's what I think. That's my opinion. That's what I believe in. I think that's what's going to make us better YouTubers. If you want to teach somebody something, let's teach them it the right way, not half-ass it. If we're going to give them good advice, let's give them good advice. Not advice that we think is good advice, but good advice that we know is going to be good for them. Not because we use this product and we know that it's not that great. Well, if we know that it's not that great, let's not recommend that to somebody else. That's what I would think. My opinion. Anyhow, that's it. I want to get, this is it. That's over 20 minutes now. So I'm ending this video now. And I really appreciate you guys listening. Thanks for letting me vent. And Keto on. Have a blessed evening.